other thing is that when I was here where her tracks there left the road, it looks like there could have been some drag mark.
I'm here.
I want to just go back to that and have a look. Clear blue skies, looks like we're in for a lovely sunny day. It's quite typical for this time of the year actually. Throughout the dry season we very seldom do get cloud. It is mostly sunny skies. Well, following Fireside Chat last night, a lot of messages coming in. Thank you to all of you who are sending messages. Really appreciate it. I haven't even read a fraction of them yet. I'll get onto the web after drive today, in between drives, and get onto those messages. If I can answer all of them, I'll try. There are also elephant tracks heading south from here, down towards Twin Dams, from the Gari Dam. Not seeing anything. Be interested to know if there is anyone who was zooming last night, if anything came down to the water. If you did see anything, please send us a message. Either email questions@wildearth.tv or just a tweet to hashtag SafariLIVE. Let me know if there has been anything at the dam and perhaps what time it was.
In front, come in. Stand by. What's your name? Yeah, we're level 4, right?
Finding tracks on very, very hard soil is a little bit difficult sometimes. I'm pretty sure that she went in there somewhere. Perhaps a little bit later I could go for a walk in there. Then we're saying hello to Brent. For now though, we'll just head down to Dabs Road, see what we can find. Maybe Lex will pick something up on the other side of the drainage line if she didn't come out there. Otherwise she's down there in the drainage. Is coming down from Dan's Road.
guys, and whoopsie, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. My name's Brent, and I got VM on camera with me today. What a beautiful morning. I mean, look at this. We're so lucky to be able to wake up, and this is our job. Isn't it fantastic? I'd like to welcome everyone. Really excited to have you with us this morning. Hopefully we're going to find some tracks. At the moment, VM and I are following some lion tracks. Quite strange lion tracks, because I'm not sure which lions they belong to. As far as I know, the Nkuhumas are quite far to the north of us, but these lion tracks are coming in from our west. So we're just having a quick look around here and to see what's going on. It is very confusing. I did have a report from Doug, who's in the western sectors, that there was a pride. I'm not sure which pride that he thought might have crossed into us, but then they found them again last night. So I'm just double checking that these tracks aren't that same pride that sort of looped in and out. So we're going to check very carefully around here. But quite exciting. I mean, it's always nice when you sort of bump into tracks in the area you're not expecting to see tracks at all. So for those of you who might be new viewers, we are live. So you are watching the sun come up here in Djuma Private Game Reserve in sunny South Africa. And hopefully we're going to find you guys some animals this morning. Also, we are interactive, so while we are out in the bush, you are able to ask us questions about what we're seeing, and you can do that by emailing us on questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE. As you can see, quite cold, got the mitts on. But it's definitely going to warm up as the sun comes up, and there's not a cloud in the sky. Another wonderful winter's day here in the Lowveld. There's been a lot of elephants around here. There is a dam quite close by, and they're making seeing these lion tracks a little bit more difficult. Big elephant paths in this area. I'm going to check all of them really carefully. I can see the lion tracks quite far down that path. So they have crossed our northern boundary. But we're going to keep checking this way. They might loop back and come back across. It'll be quite interesting to see what these tracks do, because the Nkuhuma pride were in this area not that long ago. So if this is a different pride, they will definitely sort of smell the other lions that have been here, and whether they're going to sort of quickly disappear back west, or if they're going to hang around. It's difficult to see. There's probably only about 4 or 5 animals, so a smaller pride than the Nkuhumas, and they probably wouldn't want to meet a pride of the Nkuhuma size, because they would probably definitely lose the fight. Just checking very carefully. Another big elephant path here. Oh, and I'm just about to go through a little dip, so we might experience a little bit of signal breakup, but I'm going to shoot through it quite quickly, and hopefully it doesn't break up. Foul. It's quite interesting that during the summer months, when guinea fowl are breeding, they'll split off into pairs to raise chicks. But as it gets drier, they form flocks, and then up in the high veld of South Africa, you can get flocks of several hundred. Biggest flock I've seen in this area is probably around 60 or 70, maybe even as close to 100. But this is definitely the biggest flock I've seen since being here.
More coming.
So they're quite feisty in the morning. You can see that one running, those 2 running closest to us there. If you have a look, the one at the back, you can see there's a juvenile. two juveniles there. So they haven't got that full helmet color. There's another one there. But by the end of winter, they'll look identical to the adults.
I will join you shortly if that's possible.
Quite good to just sit down, switch off, enjoy those first early morning rays of light, and listen for alarm calls and even possibly vocalizations of the bigger predators. And then you can see we're on the edge of the boundary, and there's Sydney's Dam to the left. That's why there's all these really big elephant paths in this area. As they're coming down to this water point, it's going to become all the water points are going to become very important as we move further and further into the dry season. But it's such a stunning morning. It gives me so much excitement and joy just to be out. Continue on. It looks like these lion tracks have not crossed back, but we will keep checking. A nice big flock of guinea fowl like this, it's like a perfect predator alarm system. And I'm quite sure while we're in this area, even if we're a distance away, we're going to be able to, if they spot a lion or a leopard, they will let us know, by causing quite the cacophony. So there we go. Quite often referred to colloquially as the Seven Sisters. I'm going to see who out there can tell me what bird this is. So start you off the bat, getting some IDs going. So who can let me know what birds these are? Quite often referred to the Seven Sisters because they are very often in flocks of 7. And you can send your answers to which bird this is to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE if you're on Twitter. Lex or Mark, do you copy?
Lex, can I join you, please?
So, guys, I just had a little birdie in the bush told me that Mark has got something quite exciting and interesting for you guys. So we are going to pass you over to Mark to see what he's got. And I'm sure it's going to be a really nice surprise for everyone. And we will catch up with you a little bit later on drive.
Morning, Lex. Did Queen of the Round last one?
I think he heard me talking about him last night. Welcome to all of that, everybody. It's fantastic, absolutely wonderful. I'm going to leave you to identify this magic cat while I try and get a closer look with my binoculars. He's going to be walking towards us. But it sounds like, or rather it looks like he's listening to something down in the drainage lines. I hope we're going to lose him. I thought we'd get him walking here. Let's go forward.
Welcome back, everyone. I hear you guys have had a really great but very short, exciting sighting of Mvula. Unfortunately, the area of Mvula is a really bad signal area, but he is moving, so he will move out of that area. So don't stress, you're going to get back to him, and we apologize heavily for the technical difficulties, but he is down towards the drainage line, which is a really known bad signal area for us. So we're still checking the northern boundary. I've sort of got fingers crossed that we're going to find lion tracks coming in again, but no luck so far. I also heard that Mark had tracks of a female leopard down towards the central part of the property, so I think if we don't get any luck here, we'll go see if we can find that female. Here, it's quite spread out, but you can see, if we go a little bit tighter, how much big pieces of grass are in it. So definitely grass in there, but not very heavily digested. And then if we come across to the dashboard, we have a few little things here. So we have three let me move them across so it's away from the steering wheel. Three very distinct pieces of feces. So we were chatting on the Sunset Safari last night about ruminants and non-ruminants. All three of these over here are ruminants, and the one we looked at on the ground is not a ruminant. But we'll take a piece of this one. Oh, it's very hard. There we go. So if we break it up, we can have a look how finely chewed everything is inside. Let's try to open it up a little bit more. So there, you can see how fine that is. Very little big pieces, as opposed to what we were looking at on the ground, which was very, 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 very large pieces. So I know you guys are dealing with a bird question already, but if we come out, we've got three ruminant stung on the dashboard here. So we've got a very small one, and as you can see from size, if I put my finger there, it's tiny. So we're going to ask, what are the dung? So we've got a very small one, a slightly bigger one, a much bigger one, and then a monster one off the vehicle. And that's very fresh, so I'm not going to come put that on my dashboard. But who can figure out which four different animals the dung belongs to? And you can do that by sending your answers to questions@wildearth.tv on email, or you can just use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. So we're going to sit quietly and listen for a few seconds. It is a really important time to use your ears in the bush. I mean, it's always important to use your ears to try here for alarm calls and stuff. But in this sort of hour before and the hour after sunrise is when quite often your lion and your leopard will vocalize. And I haven't heard a leopard calling for quite a while. It's an absolutely fascinating sound. It is, the best way to describe it is possibly like someone sawing wood. You imagine two guys on one of those big old saws going. So that's sort of what a male leopard or a female leopard sounds like. The way to tell really the differences is the sort of depth. The male leopards tend to have a sort of deeper and louder call than the females. But at the moment, all I can hear is one lonely rattling testicular. Them in this tree right closest to us. Disappeared. Oopsie. There was. well spotted. There's a communal spider's nest.
Can everybody give me an update on that combi on Galpo? Somebody there. You copy that, Roy? What's the lock now? You can copy that. If you see him, will you tell him I'm okay? 47 now.
Well done to Judith and Joanne, who were the first two to get the bird answer correct. It was a white-crested helmet shrike, quite often known as the Seven Sisters, because they are very often in flocks of 7, although you do get bigger flocks from time to time, but very, very, very common to be in a flock of 7. So we're just going to listen for a little bit longer. I'm just listening to the game drive radio. So, for those of you who might have joined in a little bit late this morning, Mark is busy following a male leopard in this drainage system over here where we have very, very poor signal. So we're just sort of holding the fort for Marcus till that male leopard moves out of the thickets in that drainage line and where there's bad signal into a good signal area. So we've been playing a few games. We've really seen a bird that was identified as the white-crested helmet shrike, which is number 2 over here. And really nice sighting of them, a little flock of them in the early morning light. And at the moment, we are playing with poo. So we've got a couple of different dungs here. We've got 3 on the dashboard, a very small one, a slightly bigger one, and then a much bigger one, even though the individual pieces aren't that much bigger, but quite often they're conglomerated. And then off to the right of us, we've got a very large pile of feces, and that is very spread out. The 3 on the dashboard are ruminants. This is not a ruminant, but it is obviously a very big animal. And then this is not Cape Buffalo, because it is made up of smaller little pieces that are this is blue wildebeest. But I'm not going to answer what the big pile is yet. I'm going to wait to see if anyone guesses correctly. It is a non-ruminant, the big pile next to us. So made by one of the bigger animals. But the secret is that it's spread out is the sort of clue. Duiker, impala, wildebeest, and hippo. So we're going to continue on, see what else we can find. Oh, we got it. Hi, Tammy. Welcome on Sunrise Safari. Tammy is referring to that spider's nest we were looking at earlier. So we're going to go in a bit closer on it. Tammy said it looked like there was a dead mouse inside there. I did not see that, Tammy. I think that's possibly just a leaf that has been put in as part of the nest when they were building the spider. And Tammy would also like to know what is inside that nest. Well, Tammy, I can't see. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to wander over there and have a closer look to see if it's an active one or a non-active one. And then I'll explain exactly what's inside the nest. So Tammy, it isn't active. I didn't see that many, but I saw one. What I'm going to try do now is get the vehicle much closer to it so we can get a close-up with the camera and we can have a look what is made up of that nest. It's quite interesting. I'm going to start explaining now. There are lots of little chambers where the spiders will be living, but also because they're quite effective little hunters, there's quite a lot of, this is a tube. How's that? So we'll try to see if we can, it's difficult with the sun where it is at the moment and I can't really get around to the other side of it. But if we look very carefully, maybe let me move a little bit. I'm trying to show you this. On the edges and that, there's quite a lot of sort of exoskeletons of beetles and insects that the spiders have caught. Let's try from the side. And I have to jump out quickly just to point out what I'm referring to. It's going to be quite difficult to see, but if you have a look there, you can just see there's little bits of beetles and other insects. And you can see the little tunnels that the spiders use. Obviously, with us making noise near them, they've retreated to the safety of inside. But guys, really exciting news. I've just heard that the leopard has moved into a stable area. So we're going to cross across to Mark really quickly. Sorry guys, false alarm. He's gone down into a drainage line again, and that has caused the signal to drop. But don't worry, Mark is on it, and he is staying with that leopard till that leopard goes into a better signal area. So we're going to leave the spiders and carry on to see what else we can find. Okay, guys, it seems like we're back up with Mark, so we're going to rush over to him quickly and we'll catch up with you again just now.
Well, dropped down into the drainage line. It took a little bit of waiting, but he's finally come out down here now. He's going to notice that he's obviously been morning, Mbula. I'd asked viewers to guess who it was, and it's an old man by the name of Mbula. He's about a 10-year-old cat. I'm going to have to try and move so we can follow him. And we might, I don't know if we're going to hold on to our signal because we're down in the drainage line, but we're going to try. Interestingly, Karula's tracks were coming this way down past Quarantine on Wahlberg's Nest Road, and where that enters this drainage line, it's sort of directly south of us, and he is heading in that direction. So it'd be interesting if they have been communicating with each other, and if he is maybe going to meet up with her. I don't know. A very casual cat. Clearly been having a fight with somebody because he's got some sort of an injury to his eye, very similar to what might have happened with Karula's mother, a cat by the name of Safari. She spent probably the last, I think, 8 years of her life with only one eye. And of course it will either heal or he might lose it. I haven't had a good enough view of it. I haven't been able to see it well enough to establish whether he's going to maintain his sight in that eye or how bad the injury is. We picked up the trail of something. Picked up the scent of someone. Maybe another cat.
Did you went bijvoorbeeld did you from the Cheetah Catlan or Rana Catlan?
Rena and Lynn had a couple of tweets wanting to know if I have any idea what might have happened to his eye. Most likely a fight with another cat. He is in sort of a pressure cooker of leopard territories here, with big males around all over, and he's possibly come into contact with another cat. He's found something to eat. There's a scrub here that he must have stashed, or someone must have stashed it, that he's found. I don't know whether he maybe picked up the scent of it or he did leave it here. He's just picked up a scrub here that he must have stashed or someone else stashed. Actually licking the hair off of the scrub hair. What's interesting is that it was actually stashed there. He's taking all the fur off first. He's going to have a small meal this morning. I wonder who would have left it there. No, it was a scrub hair that he's just picked up now.
Really?
It was under a bush just off to your left, and I don't know if it was. I doubt whether he would have stashed.
Eating your scrub hair now. Did he catch it up?
No, he picked up the scent. There's a pathway that goes up there.
Yes.
And he picked up the scent of something, sniffed around, and then he found it under a bush there.
Dead?
Yeah, and it had a little bit of the hind chewed off of it.
Wow.
Gives us a chance. You can see that he's keeping that eye closed quite a bit.
Yeah.
We're sort of in a really awkward spot here, and we can't go forward or back. So it's about the best view that we've got right now. I wonder if it could have been a smaller predator that maybe killed it during the night, or maybe a bird, maybe an owl. There are giant eagle owls that live in the big jackalberry not far from us right now, and I can't imagine a leopard killing a scrub hare and leaving it, especially being such a small prey item. there would be no reason to leave it, and if they were going to leave it, they probably wouldn't leave it under a bush. I know that we have seen a lot of the leopards, especially Karula and even Mvula himself, making kills and stashing them under bushes and then coming back to them later on. Yeah, I can't tell you, he's behind bushes, so I can't get any photographs from my angle. So I'm going to have to rely on some screen caps that you might get. We can have a closer look at that eye.
That's right.
He's really plucking it. Just cover that bit.
It looks like that eye is completely red. Which would mean that maybe a claw got into it.
Yeah, or maybe something like certain might have been feeding on it, ran away from it. Or a bird of prey.
He's holding it down to follow that.
It didn't look like there was any rigor mortis in the carcass. I don't think it's a very old carcass. So he's plucking it at the moment before he eats it. It's probably a lot of work for such a small meal. But leopards, being opportunist the way they are, doesn't like that hair in his mouth. Blah, 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 blah. But leopard are these unique cats that can subsist on a diet of much smaller creatures than what, say, lion would require. That's the skull that he's eating now. Question from Sabira, one of our Zoomies, wanting to know if a slender mongoose could have killed this rabbit. Well, firstly, it's a hare, not a rabbit. Semantics. Well, not quite. There are distinct differences between hares and rabbits. But no, I don't think a slender mongoose. It is much smaller than the hare, and although it's not impossible, I don't think it's likely. I think because the slender mongoose is more diurnal, the hare is a nocturnal creature. Their paths don't cross too often. Although scrub hares sleeping at the base of a tree is likely to maybe be sniffed out by a mongoose. I'm not seeing many other injuries on him.
What about grass seeds?
No, I don't think so. The blinking and that looks quite deep in the eye. I can't even get a good look, unfortunately, because this little jackleberry is in the way for me. He didn't catch it. Yes, no, definitely it was there because there was already some feeding on the rump. Giant eagle owl.
Yeah, maybe something that
serval
or a small bird of prey that couldn't lift it up into a tree.
Yeah. Also, scrub hares make a bit of a noise when they're killed with a bird there.
Yeah.
Anyway. Some of the people chatting saying he looks very thin, or what do I think? I don't think he looks very thin. I think maybe he's... You see, when cats haven't eaten for a couple of days, they do have that gaunt look about them, but I think he's still quite healthy. He's obviously had a fight at some point. In fact, viewers, if you could all let me know when was the last time you actually saw Mvula. I think it was with Brent, maybe. I'm not sure when the last time you saw him. We haven't seen him since I've been back from leave, which is just about 10 days now. 9 days. So we need to find out from maybe some of the other guides.
The predators, we were just talking about it now, predators are pretty much opportunistic. So when if it's walking through the bush like this, with the duiker, impala, kudu, or straddler, bird, frankie, I'll give it a go.
What happened with St. Peter's yesterday? Had a kill yesterday. What's the
Yeah. So very much so. So if he's sitting here with the father still in the tree, he's lying under the tree and the duiker comes along to stalk it. So there's been a phase.
Diane's saying maybe he got swatted during mating, causing the eye injury. Rosie was saying maybe he ran into a branch. I don't know about the branch thing. I think they're pretty, with all the whiskers that they have, those help to protect them against those sort of injuries. Not impossible. I'd say the more likely scenario may be being swatted while mating. That is a very strong possibility. So it's either through mating or fighting, perhaps, that this could have occurred. But it is all speculation, unless somebody actually saw him either in a fight or mating or whatever the case. It could have even been in a fight with a warthog or a fight with a prey item. An impala could have got kicked during a kill. There are a number of possibilities, but of course we will never know. I'm just going to ask Lex, who's behind us, because I think they might have seen him yesterday. I'm just going to chat to him again and see if it was like that.
And it's also, things about this opportunistic behavior. The leopard is always, and any predator is going to be, because it's not that easy to make it with. So, when it's one kill every 8 days,
Back in going up, he's sort of punched over, Lex?
Yeah.
Did you see him yesterday at cruise camp?
No.
Oh. So he was there, evidently.
Was he?
One of the camps.
Well, yes. Nigel said they saw a big male leopard, but I don't know that they know for sure which one is which. But they saw a big male leopard. We had his tracks. His tracks were those tracks going across into Buffalo yesterday afternoon. That was him.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm just wondering if when he was last seen, if he had the eye injury
The last time I saw him was 2 weeks ago when I was here, and he was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know when you last saw him.
Well, I was on leave then. I've only been back just over a week. I haven't seen him since
This
I'm back.
happened in the last 2 weeks, definitely.
Yeah.
And I don't know who last saw him.
I guess we'll have to ask around.
Because you know, Mark, there's that other big male leopard that we saw at Jordan's Dam. The big guy, probably as big as Buddha, with a nick out of his right ear. And that guy, we've seen him at Jordan's and at First Rock. I'm not sure where else he's been seen, but that could be the guy they saw at Nigel.
Yeah.
Yes, carrying on walking.
Just these two like
You notice how as he looks at us, he closes his eyes. It's a very typical cat gesture. Most of acceptance and also clearly not a challenge or even a worry. Even domestic cats are like that. Well, I call it softening of the eyes. Whenever a cat looks at you and it softens its eyes, you know that you are accepted by it, that it is not threatened by you at all. And often it's I will always, on foot or even in a vehicle, when lion or leopard or cheetah make eye contact, I will always soften my eyes back. Unfortunately, the camera will.
I'm going to just try and change my position.
I can try and go back there.
I'm going to try and. Okay?
I'll try and go back here. And then I just need to move because we're in a place with pretty much only one vehicle view because the narrow angle of the site is. We need to move just a bit. Can you still see him? I'm kind of stuck because if I go even a centimeter forward, then the leaves block my camera.
Okay, I'm going to just see.
But I can try.
You could try and push a little bit further.
Well, otherwise, I can just try and go up there. dust settles. I think that was the last of it.
You okay there, Mark?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Spike thorn in my face. Love it. And that was it. That was a scrub air. We'll see. It probably hasn't filled his tummy very much.
That shape is wild. It's nothing out of it. That's the best thing.
Interesting that he's now covering the last little remains that are there. Covering his tracks, hiding the deed. And he goes back to the drainage line. Michael, morning Michael. Mike Moss, over there in California. Mike saying that his father in Tombela, who lived to a ripe age, also only had one eye. And hopefully we can follow him still some. We're sitting at a really strange angle. I don't know if it really comes across from the camera, but the vehicle is sort of sitting at a very tough angle. Obviously tough for Brian, but we'll try and get back to him shortly. We just have another vehicle behind us. One of the spike thorns.
We get a picture of Mike impaled. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. See if we can follow him some more. Maybe he's got some more surprises under bushes. Okay. And be careful. He's doing. cats do after a little bit of a meal. We'll probably end up doing a bit of a cleaning session for us. Well, just got in a message from Nancy in Washington saying that the last time he was seen was the 23rd of May on Nkoro, and he didn't have an eye issue then, so it is fairly recent. Thank you, Nancy, and others who have mentioned that. Morning, Lewis. Lewis is in Buffalo. Oh. I think I had a good look there. I think it's just the corner of the eye.
Yeah, all like, it's like that, you know, that membrane that comes up.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't open from.
I don't think he's going to lose his sight in that eye. Lewis in Buffalo, New York, was wondering if it's going to affect his hunting ability. If he does lose the sight, what will happen is that, of course, stereoscopic vision is affected, and so judging distance does become a little bit of a problem, but it doesn't affect them to such an extent that they will starve. I mean, there have been many single-eyed leopards that have lived for many, many years. Karula's mother, Safari, is one of them. Then there was evidently his father, Ntombela, another big leopard from down south, which is down, well, I think, in Lion Sands right now, a place where Mike Moss also spends quite some time. I had a little bit of a look when he came right past me now, and it appears that it's maybe just the membrane that membrane in his eye rather than the actual eye itself. And I'm guessing that he's not going to lose his sight, and it'll probably heal in time. He's making his way towards Central Road, and we might be able to follow him through here. But it might be an idea to get out onto Central Road. Okay, looks like Lex is going to do that. I have followed elephant through this spike thorn thicket. Oh, I can just smell a leopard now. Very strong scent of a leopard. We're not going to get through there. Maybe get through here. Sometimes I think that an elephant, if a herd of elephants can get through there, maybe we can too. Not always the case, but it's a bit narrow, but I'm sure we'll make it. Catherine in Texas wanting to know if wildcats, big cats, have a... Sorry, probably just turn these people off. Do wildcats have the same problem that domestic cats have with hairballs? Yeah, not only their own hair, but obviously the hair of the animals that they eat, because cats do not digest hair and bone, so they do regurgitate a hair pellets with hair and bone and hoof. And off he goes, Central Road. I wonder if he's going to carry on up the drainage line, or if he's going to go up the road. I think he's going to carry on down the drainage line, to be honest. Oh, wonderful to have spent so much time with him this morning. Let's see. See him, Brian? He's just gone past it.
No,
into more of a Tambuti thicket now.
Yeah, yeah, but it's, yes, that's right. Like fairy balls.
I got a feeling Karula's in there somewhere.
Yeah, because her tracks were going in there.
Came down past, down the Woolberg's Nest, and at the junction with Twin Dams Road came in.
And you know, when Aubrey was tracking him yesterday, he seemed to be following Karula's tracks. Is there a way in there?
There is, here, there's an old, you know there's old pan here?
Yes.
There is down there. Decide to, if you can't find him, decide to carry on. let's take the leg in. I don't know if we'll get into the drainage line there, but we'll get into the drainage line where that drainage line joins the Mulwati. Brandy, gosh, wanting to know if I ever went into a riverbed where there were some green acacia thorns before they hardened and whitened. I tied a knot in them. Oh gosh, Brandy, I can't even remember where that is. I wish I could. But I do recall doing that because I've done it a lot. Because those lovely big thorns of the acacias are just modified leaves. So as they start growing, they are very, very soft. And you can bend them and shape them so that when they actually grow, they become very, very hard. And so when you bend them and shape them, they'll harden in that shape. Bend me, shape me any way you want me. So, are we going to find him yet? That is the question. Istanbul. Is that a little skull there on the ground? That's a piece of a vertebra. Over this little bump, just right behind her. And just this little hump, we've got a little ridge here that is just blocking our access there. Maybe not. Maybe get into this drainage line and wait, see if we can find our way to where the other one comes into. This is the last I've been in here before. Well, we can't get too far south down here's the drainage line. Hello, Marianne. I'm sending a tweet wanting to know if we're near the tree where Karula lost her cub, if we could have a look how things have changed there. We aren't at the moment. We've come a little bit too far southwest of there. And I need to answer the radio. And we could just wait here and see if he's going to come out. Lex, you're calling? Look at that beautiful jackalberry. Giant bonsai. Once again, a waiting game. See if he's going to come out this way. While I'm waiting, I'm also going to try and position myself. If he does come into because he's supposedly coming down, or he was coming down this drainage line, just off to our left. And this is the main Mwati River. We're in a fairly open patch here, and it's a good place to wait because of the cross rivers. And so we'll hand you over to Brent, say hello to Brent, and VM, see what they've got for you, and I'll see you in a little while.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you've been having such a fantastic sighting with Mark and Mbula. We've been checking the whole sort of eastern area. We did follow the tracks of a female leopard, which is possibly Karula, for quite a long way. Unfortunately, she crossed east out of our property. So we've now come down to the area around Twin Dams, just to have a look what's been going on here. And quite quiet at the moment from our side. But, as we say that, some excitement lands next to the dam. Great go-away bird, going for a drink. We'll see if we can get a nice visual of it now. Sneak across to the other side so not to disturb him while he's drinking. There we go. Quenching his morning thirst, or her morning thirst. Quite nice to see them quiet and not screaming at everyone.
Stand by.
Very peaceful scene here at Twin Dams. Got a red-billed hornbill in front of us that's excavating buffalo dung, looking for grubs and other insects that might have laid eggs in the buffalo dung. He sifts through. So what he's doing is actually going into the soil under the buffalo dung. So what will happen is quite a lot of different insects would lay their eggs in the dung, and then once the larvae and whatnot have finished feeding, they will sort of burrow down into the sand below the dung, and that's where they'll sort of go into the pupa stage. So he lifts up the dung and then he digs into the sand, sifting through there to see if there are any pupa. Oh, guys, this is quite a nice special sighting. It's not often you get such good sightings of them, especially not coming down to drink. Very beautiful bird, exquisite sort of colouring, and I want to see if anyone can guess what type of bird is that. You can tell me which bird this is, and you can send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv. Or you can just use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. I don't know if you saw the way he hopped there. It was very distinct. It doesn't look like he's very comfortable. Oh, and off went. Quick drink and off. It didn't look like he's very comfortable walking on the ground. And there we go. There's another very beautiful little bird. We did see one yesterday afternoon for those who are on the Sunset Safari at Red Dam. It's a little three-banded plover. Almost completely associated with water. So you will find them amongst on the edge of all sorts of water in the bush, and all different sizes as well. I've even seen them on sort of puddles during the rainy season. Foraging away. That beautiful reflection. Let's see if I can try snap a shot of that. So beautiful. Oh, now I don't get the full reflection. I was a little bit late. Well done, George Ann from Illinois. George Ann was the first to get the ID African green pigeon. Very interesting from the pigeon family. I'm just going to find a picture of it quickly for those who might have missed. And it is the only member of the sort of pigeon and dove family that has zygodactyl feet. And what that means is it's got 2 feet facing forward and 2 feet facing back, which is very much a parrot trait. And they feed very much like parrots. They're fruit eaters, so they will move between all the fruiting trees in the area. Wait, there we go, on the right page. Now I'll just find them. There we go. Number 4. And if you have a look, you can't really see the feet too well there, but even in their body shape and that, and their beak, they've got a nice little hook on the beak, and that's for opening up fruit. Very, very beautiful, beautiful bird. Definitely one of my favorites. And if we have a look there, you can not the best in the picture, but you can see it's got the feet facing forward and back, and then if you have a look at sort of any of the other doves, you can see there's not really clear, but there's three toes facing forward and 1 facing back, and that's for a bird that will spend a lot of time walking on the ground. So the green pigeon is very adapted to grey go-away birds just literally flown right over our heads and landed next to the vehicle to come have a drink. It's amazing if you sit quietly next to a waterhole in the early morning or in the late afternoon, all the different birds that come down to drink, not only the animals. Very peaceful here at Twin Dams, enjoying some of the avians. There we go, off he goes. And you'll find, if you look carefully around, and especially in that tree, you'll find a lot of birds, the go-away birds and doves. At this time of the morning, especially after a cold night, a lot of them will be sunning themselves, warming up before they sort of head off foraging. So, I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go-away birds that I can see. Hi Aurelia, welcome on Sunrise Safari. Aurelia is saying she's never seen the waterhole so low, and she's been watching the live drives for about 4 years. Well, Well, really, this is my first couple of months in this particular part of the Sabi Sands, and it is quite dry, but we did have a little bit of late rain. But when I worked in the Sabi Sands close on 10 years ago, we did go through another time where it was very, very dry. And in the bush, you do go through wet and dry cycles. And it's very important for the bush to have both of those, is because it helps different parts of the bush recover. Or we might find that because we've been going through such a wet cycle, we're getting a lot of bushes and stuff growing on areas that should be grassland. So now a nice dry cycle like this, you'll get the elephants and that really flattening out those bushes and opening it up again. So it's quite a interesting time. And we do go through cycles. Sorry, 1 second. Vim, at the base of this little thicket on the left, there's a woodpecker. So if we zoom in there, hopefully there we go. It's a bit difficult to see which woodpecker right now. Let's see if he comes around, gives us a better view. Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear the tapping. It's all happening on the avian front around Twin Dams. We're just going to stick with this woodpecker for a bit, see if we can have a better view of his head so we can see if we can identify it. Very special adaptations the woodpeckers have to be able to bang away at a branch like that. See if it's just in the shadow there. I don't want to move the vehicle in case it gives them a fright, but I'm hoping we'll move around to the lighter side. Let's see if I can get a shot of the head. The head's quite important when it comes to identifying woodpeckers. Just in the brief glimpse I got, and judging by the size, I have an idea which woodpecker it is, but I'm not 100% sure till I can get a better view. I'm going to keep watching where that woodpecker is, see if he comes out into the open a bit more. You can see all the go-away birds enjoying the nice warm morning sunlight. Hi Anna Marie, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Anna Marie would like to know, the grey lilies look all very puffed up this morning. Is that because they are cold? It is, Anna Marie. Like we've seen impalas and other antelope too, they puff up when it's cold, and that allows a sort of a layer of air to get caught between, in this case, the feathers and the body. And that acts as sort of an insulate blanket because the body will warm up that air, and the feathers will keep that air inside, and it sort of acts as a blanket. They also are puffed up because they are doing this sort of quite a lot of preening and cleaning while they are warming up in the sunlight. Hi, Tom from Seattle. Tom would like to know, are there fish in this waterhole? And if so, how did they get here? Oh, Tom, I'm going to be with you in a second. Looks like we just had another green pigeon land on the edge of the waterhole. Oh, there's a couple coming in. hope I caught that flying. But so Tom, there are probably, I would say, one species of fish in this waterhole at the moment, and that is sharp-toothed catfish. And they're actually able to breathe air, and they will move over land. So when this dries out, they can actually walk, and they can do a couple of kilometers between different water sources. They have another adaptation for surviving when these ponds dry out, and that is to burrow themselves into the mud, deep into the mud. They form a little cocoon around themselves with sort of slimy mucus that they produce, and that sort of, even as it hardens on the outside, they're able to stay moist, and it's sort of a form of hibernation, and they can stay in the mud for quite a while. Obviously not indefinitely, but they can last the dry season cocooned in the mud. There's that little three-banded plover again. That woodpecker has moved further into the thickets. Unfortunately, we can't see. But if I had to guess, and I'm not saying it was definitely, just from the general impression and size of the woodpecker and the little bit I did see as it flew into that thicket, I'm going to guess it was probably a cardinal woodpecker. It's quite a small woodpecker, quite common species in the area, and just the general size. And it did look to have a very streaky sort of chest area. And it was a male because it had red on the back of its head. So there we go. That is the cardinal woodpecker. I'd say it was a male cardinal woodpecker. As I said, I didn't get a good enough view, but just the general body size and shape and some of the coloring I did see, that is what I would guess it was, a cardinal woodpecker. So, there's another game drive vehicle coming in here. Probably thinks we found something really exciting like lions or leopards, but we're just birding. Not to say that birding isn't exciting, it's definitely one of my favorite pastimes. I've spent many hours crawling through thorny thickets and stinging nettles just to see one specific tiny little brown bird. So, geez, how many species have we managed to record since we've been sitting here, guys? We'll put a tentative cardinal woodpecker, or we can just call it a woodpecker for now. But I think we can add a few more. See if you guys can remember what bird species we've seen since we've been sitting at the waterhole, and how many. I'm just going to move the vehicle forward a little bit so we can add another species to the list. Hear them calling. Oh, I think we might be able to add more than one species to the list if we move a little bit forward. So I just saw a bird fly into this leadwood tree next to us. Oh. I'll keep looking for it, but I think we're going to add another species if we go. Can you swing around the top of that same little acacia that the go-away birds were in? We can see there's another species to add. There's that Cape turtle dove. I don't know, where did this bird disappear to? So if you heard me making that funny noise there, that is quite a nice way to bring the smaller bird species out. It's an alarm call, so they come to investigate to see if there's a snake or something. But here's a nice, slightly easier one to add to the species list for twin dams on this beautiful winter's morning. We've got some crested francolin. They might be coming down to drink as well, so we'll keep an eye on them. Doesn't look like that little guy I saw fly into the trees playing along today. Psh, 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 psh. They're also great foragers of around dung, all the francolin species, especially the big fans of feeding in elephant dung. Just listening carefully to see if I can hear any other birds that we might be able to see. Nice little family of francolin. They are actually very, very pretty birds, crested francolin. Wonderful sort of striations on their body. Very distinct little white eye line. So an edge of a waterhole like this is quite a good feeding place for them if they're looking for grubs and that, with the amount of buffalo dung around. But it looks like they are also mostly, oh, there we go, a bit of begging going on. So that says those two who ran up to the one in the middle were probably babies not so long ago, and they sort of sub-adults. You can see they're slightly smaller. They're also feeding off grass seeds that have fallen on the ground. Actually moving right towards me. They come feed all around us. Amazing if you stop and listen and just sit in an area quietly, how much you can see. And I mean, we've only been really focusing on the birds. We haven't looked at the other stuff around us. But that's the most amazing thing about the bush, is that you are literally surrounded by fascinating things, whether it be grasses, plants, flowers, birds, insects, even dung. Zoom in on that sort of that section there, to the right a little bit, down a little bit. Just stop right there. I'm gonna try to see. Oh, I think where I am, I'm just a little bit further forward than you. I'm just gonna try. Just stay on. Just, you got it. Right hand, top right hand corner. What is that there? Top right hand corner. Is that moving now? No, it's moving. Yes, that's it. But if I move forward a little bit, I think we might be able to get a better view. There we go. Very pretty little bird. You can see it's got a yellow breast. I don't see if anyone can ID it for me. You can see it's very yellow and it's got a yellow eye stripe. So who can identify it? It's a little seed eater. Let's see if anyone can possibly identify this little bird. And you can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE if you're on Twitter. Hi, Donna from Michigan. Donna would like to know, do all birds in this area nest in trees, or do some of them nest on the ground? And in particular, where does a lilac-breasted roller nest? Thelma from Michigan. Well, Thelma, a lot of bird species, the majority, I would say, will nest in trees. But if we swing down and have a look at these little three-banded plovers again, here's a good example of a bird that would nest on the ground. So a lot of your sort of plovers, lapwings, waders will nest on the ground, and they're ground nests, and their eggs are very, very camouflaged, so very difficult to see. Not really nests as opposed to depressions in the soil. But the majority of the birds will nest in trees. And as for a lilac-breasted roller, they normally nest in hollows in dead trees, is where they would nest. And I can actually hear them calling behind me. I don't know if you guys can hear that sort of very high-pitched little. That's the yellow-fronted canaries calling. Well, I think we've done really well sitting here, but I think it's time we move along a little bit and see what else we can find.
Come back to the Wendy. We are now on Twin Dams Road. We are opposite We're also in this last place that I saw Karula's tracks going in. I've just taken a walk in there. Anything in there at all? We head down towards Chillipan, maybe. Pick up any tracks further down south. I don't know where these cats are. No sign of any of them coming out onto this road yet. Sounds like you've been having a pretty good time with some birds down at Twin Dams. It's quite amazing, so many different species. Try that little trip. Let's try. Let's go and see. I'm curious though. I'm curious to see whether he and Karula are going to meet up, because I'm sure those were her tracks. And both tracks seem to sort of end up within. We saw him, so we know where he ended up. Nothing here. Very well worn pathway. Something that I can here in the Milwaukee. Slightly different place to where we were. And if there's anything coming out to this particular track, nothing that I can see so far. I'll go too far upriver, but we can try a little ways. Like a little island further up. Heading that way. Then I don't think there's anything down there. But maybe we'll do a big loop through the riverbed and onto Vulture's Nest, perhaps onto Central Road. Maybe we take the ride that way and see what we can find from that direction. The other thing is that Karula possibly could have, if that was Karula, that female leopard whose track's come down here, could have walked through grass areas like this, where you're not going to pick up any tracks and it's going to be very difficult to follow a cat's tracks. So maybe they were picked up elsewhere. I think Brent was following female leopard tracks to think they were Karulas. So possibly he picked up on the tracks that are an extension of these tracks. I've just missed where they've come out somewhere. Maybe I'll find that now. We do a big loop. Hi Chris, probably a good afternoon to you in South Australia, in Adelaide. Nice to hear from you again. Chris wants to know what I mean by when I was talking about cats watching us with soft eyes, or they soften their eyes. They close their eyes and they look at you just through slits in their eyes. Basically, they soften. Aggressive, wide open eyes are aggressive. They're challenging. They're focusing. There is intent. Whereas when cats look at you and it's a slow blink, they'll still look at you through those little slits. That's what I mean. Hope you get my meaning. If you've got a cat at home, it's almost like smiling eyes. It's very important gesture as far as cats are concerned. Also, amongst members of their own species, you'll find that cats will also become submissive when they look at another cat. If they're submissive, they will close their eyes or soften their eyes and then perhaps even look away. Break that twig. again. Buffalo Thorn Branch. Ow. That's why I did that. Sounds interesting that Brent's got something interesting. I think maybe we head over that way. I'm going to carry on down Spin Dams Road and follow up on tracks and see what I can find along this way. And I'll come back to you a bit later. In the meantime, I'll see you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. It actually just seemed quite an interesting little passage that happened as we arrived at the hyena den. Literally at the mouth of the hyena den was a herd of zebra, and there were no hyenas when we arrived. And then all of a sudden, I think 3 or 4 adult hyena arrived. I mean, a hyena is definitely capable of taking down a zebra, but they're not really looking at interest, so they just walked up to the zebra and the zebra moved off. So the zebra were literally standing at the entrance to the den.
Channel.
Nisikaya is active. So actually the zebra stallion is still a little bit closer and sort of watching. And a zebra can be a very violent animal, and I think these hyenas all look quite well fed and don't really. See, there's the stallion, he's a bit closer. Just watching the hyenas. That was perfect timing. We arrived as the hyenas arrived. I don't see any of the cubs yet, but we've got the adults here. Oh, a little bit of greeting. These hyenas are looking quite well fed, so they've obviously found food somewhere, or they've hunted something. They're not particularly interested in the zebras. What's found there? That's found an old little piece of bone. I do really like hyenas. What a character. So you can see they've got a very distinct body shape with that long sloping back. Does anyone out there know why a hyena is built like that? Can anyone think of a reason why that hyena has that very big, powerful front end body and then quite a sloping back and much smaller, less developed lower body? Standing by. Sorry, go again.
Did anybody find a bullet this morning?
Firm, that was the Ingwe, Mark and Let's Go with. Sorry guys, just chatting on the Game Drive channel for a second. So the other hyenas have moved to the mouth of the den. I was going to swoop. Hi, Lisa. Morning. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Lisa's saying it doesn't look like these hyenas have enough ambition to take down a hyena. Yeah, nice full bellies. They're not completely full, but definitely they've eaten quite well recently. And a zebra could be quite a dangerous thing. I mean, a kick from a zebra could break their jaw, and that would spell the end for them. So there's no real reason for them to attempt to hunt the zebra, and the zebra can tell that from their body language. And so the zebra have actually just stopped 25 meters away and are continuing to feed. So let's see what's going on. There are no cubs out yet, but with 3 adults, there was a 4th adult when we arrived. I'm not sure where that one's gone. It could be lying up on the other side of the den. Let's see if they managed to. I heard a little bit of that sort of low-pitched call hyenas do sometimes when they're trying to call out youngsters. Now that looks like you can see the dominance there. And the one who just walked up towards the mouth of the den looks like she's lactating. So we might possibly get a youngster to come out, or not. Just zoom in on her belly, please, for me, Vim. The one who's standing there. Is she lactating or is she pregnant? I did see a hyena who looked very pregnant a while ago, but when they've got a full belly, it's more difficult to tell. But you can see her nipples are enlarged. I'm not sure whether she's actually lactating or she's actually pregnant. It does look like she might be pregnant, which is really good news. We have some new little cubs, and they are really, really cute when they are small. All of them keep looking and listening behind us. I'm not sure what they're listening to. There could be other hyenas arriving on their way back to the den. Hi Remy, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Remy would like to know, do hyenas swallow bone? They do, but they do break it down into smaller pieces with those incredibly powerful jaws of theirs. Before they swallow, and they one of their special evolutionary adaptations is that ability to crush bone. And they can crush huge bones. So their jaws are quite a lot more powerful than lions, but their teeth are also... Oh, hang on a second, nearly lost my ears. Their teeth are also differently adapted to lions, so they're not as sharp on the points, and they've got sort of rounded edges that are more for crushing rather than cutting and piercing. So their teeth are made for sort of crushing, but also if they are to hunt and they manage to grab on, they sort of bite and hold onto their prey. I keep thinking it might be another hyena on its way, just watching the way they're listening to that particular area. And it's got nice and warm now. All the layers of clothing are coming off. Hi, Sandy from Texas. Welcome on Sunrise Safari. Sandy's just mentioning when VM did a close-up on the paws, maybe we can do that again. She said it looks like the claws have been groomed. They are kept quite short, and she'd like to know, how do hyenas do this? Because domestic dogs seem incapable of doing this. Well, Sandy, that's not entirely true. They're not groomed as such as worn. I mean, hyenas walk incredible long distances. There we go. That's a really nice visual there. You can see how the edges are blunted. And that is almost purely from walking long distances all the time. And the reason domestic dogs seem to not do that anymore is because they're domesticated and they live with us, and they don't have to go looking for food and hunting anymore. So they don't walk or travel or run as far as they should, or to keep those claws shortened. So that is just a side effect of being domesticated and not having to hunt for your own food. The fact is that we feed them, so they don't have to cover vast distance, and they don't have to hunt. And a domestic dog is a pack animal, so they would have hunted in packs and they would have run quite a lot, and that would have kept those claws short. But now, because they're domesticated, they are no longer short, and whereas the hyena still has to walk incredible long distances for foraging, and they will run when they're hunting, and that is how the claws are kept so short. Hi, Marianne. Marianne seems to have got the closest to the answer to the question. There's a particular reason that a hyena's got that long sloping back and very powerful built forequarters. And one of the reasons is that they are able to, when they're scavenging off lions and that, they can actually sort of rush in and grab. Oh, everyone's leaving. And grab a large piece of prey or of carcass and lift it and run off with it at high speed. There's another reason that they have that long sloping back, and that adaptation is specifically for stamina. So they are able to walk and travel long distances, and that particular shape enables them to be quite energy efficient when they are walking. And you see it drop their head there, and as they disappear into the drainage line. So that is one of the reasons, is for stamina. Just wanted to show you guys something quickly. There we go. So we were talking about the amount of crushing power that's in a hyena's jaw and the teeth structure. Just have a quick look there. You can see there's a diagram of a hyena's skull, and specifically with the teeth, and you see how rounded the points are. If we go quickly across to the lion, you see much sharper, made for cutting those premolars and molars, and in much sharper canines that are made for sort of anchoring when they go for the kill. But if we look at the hyena, much more rounded, all the teeth, and much more massive. I mean, just look at the width difference there as opposed to on a lion. So much more massive. And also, if you look, that crushing power comes from this dorsal crest here. So all all those big masseter muscles and whatnot are attached through there, and that drives the power that enables them to crush. So lions have an extended crest much more than sort of your smaller cats, but even on a hyena, it's even more extended. It goes right up much higher, and that allows for much bigger muscles and tendons to be attached to that area. So very interesting how that different animals have evolved specifically to their niches. And we are now hyena-less. They have disappeared into the drainage line. So I'm going to see if we can find a zebra if they haven't moved off too far.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the ongoing hunt for cats. I can't really get in here. This is the last place that we saw Mbula this morning. He was making his way in here. That big jackalberry that I've been using as a landmark is much further down this little drainage line where it comes into the Mulwati. We were waiting there. I suspect that he might be sleeping somewhere between here and the Mulwati.
Before we come in?
Oh, excuse me. So as much as I'd love to try and find him again, I think this is going to be calling it a day now. I guess we've got no choice to say that it was great to have seen him, but there are times when we just have to let them be. And maybe before drive starts this afternoon, I can just come and take a little bit of a walk in here and have a look. See also if there are any tracks coming out from any of these places. So for now, let's continue. We'll go up Mvubu Road, I think. Let's go up Mvubu Road. And look for some other things. Sounds like you've seen some nice, interesting stuff with Brent this morning. Warming up nicely. Somebody mentioned a cat. One of the zoomies mentioned a cat at Gari Dam this morning, Tuna Waterhole, Gari Dam. Unfortunately, no time was given or what angle. It really helps us a lot. It's quite amazing, in fact, when we do get messages from the viewers to say that they saw something at a particular time or the different animals that do visit. But it is important, maybe as important as the timing of the sighting, because remember we don't watch the camera and we have no visual of the dam at all from where we stay. Those of us that stay up in Manyaleti, we come down in the dark, and where we stay we can't see Gari Dam at all, and we don't log on to the dam webcam. So we depend not only for Gari Dam, but also for Arathusa Dam. We depend a lot on the zoomies and the people who are watching to give us information. But please, for future emails and things, please let us know if the camera is straight facing the dam, or facing with the water straight ahead, where the water stretches both left and right. We could call that 12 o'clock because that's in front of the dam, in front of the camera. So anything left is going north, anything to the right is going south, anything going more or less straight away from the dam. The angle from the camera to the dam is more or less east. And it just gives us a starting point to look for things. But we're going to go up Mvubu Road. Let's see if we can find any signs of anyone up here. Like whoever is zooming at the moment, it looks like there's some impala that are just coming down. I see some elephant tracks here. I don't know if they were caught on camera, but it looks like elephant came past the dam, maybe during the night. But we are directly opposite the camera now. There are impala that are coming down to drink right in front of the camera. We go back right and get a shot of that for you. I thought we'd have another gap, but I'll have to go back for this. So there's some impala just coming out now in front of the waterhole camera. You can see the white box that you can see at the base of that tree in the top right of your frame. That is actually the light, and then there's a teardrop shape higher up on the tree. That is the waterhole camera at Djuma. So we're looking at the camera. The camera is looking either at us or at the impala. You can always just lift the camera from the impala and look to the east. You should find us parked up on Mvubu Road. We're heading north on Mvubu Road. Keep watch of those impala, by the way, because if there is a cat around, it's probably going to spook them. And that's when you can let us know if anything's happening. Nothing likely to make a play for them in this open patch that they're in now. They're far too open. They can easily get away from a leopard where they are now. If something were to make an appearance, the leopard would have to try when they're on their way down or on their way back away from the water, where they have to pass through bushes and trees. Quite pretty, actually. I picked it up. I claimed it. And I'm using it because I haven't got my other wild turkey feather that's on the leather thong with the other feathers. That's actually supposed to be for smoke. This would make a good one for that kind of thing, but it's my fly swish at the moment. Question a couple of days ago from some of our long-time viewers if they could think of things that we could show to some of the first-time viewers that could spark a bit of interest or create a diversion from looking for animals. And Sharon mentioned a few things. Of course, there are a lot of things in the summer months that we can do that we can't really do in the winter months. Oh, look, there's a nice plant. That's an interesting plant. That sort of leaf, that green leaf sticking out of the ground. It's known as Sansevieria. Not flowering at the moment. There's another one closer to that sickle bush. Now the Sansevieria is also known as mother-in-law's tongue. It is quite a common house plant, and of course there are many different cultivars that are grown. Long, thin, sword-shaped leaves, variegated leaves, all different types of Sansevierias. Mother-in-law's tongue because it's long, it's hard, and it's sharp. Now, Sharon mentioned one thing that I'm going to have to try and find this afternoon. Sharon in Austria was saying that there used to be a tree where there was a python that used to spend time in winter. And I remember being on camera with Rex, or being with Rex on camera, one of the two, when we found it. Rex found it. I think Rex was on camera at the time and not presenting. And he was almost eye level with it. Now, Sharon, that was on that junction with Weaver's Nest and the old fire break that runs down to Twin Dams from Weaver's Nest. There's that little fire break. I've been past there a couple of times, but there are trees that have fallen over the road. But I'm going to go back there this afternoon and we'll see if we can find something. I haven't managed to get that far south this morning, down near Twin Dams or down to Weaver's Nest. So funny enough, I was going to start drive this morning, heading down Weaver's Nest, and I got distracted by cat tracks. Just goes to show it's very hard to actually plan things. Or it's very hard to stick to plans, let's put it that way. You can plan away all you like, but then sometimes as we leave camp or something happens that changes our direction and it has to change plans entirely. Oh, there's a little apellis in this buffalo thorn. Could hear it. That's gone. Up in that bigger one now. Brian's trying to move so fast. These small birds don't give us a break. My guess is it possibly a bar-throated. Use gravity drive and try and sneak down. It's quite deep in the middle of this buffalo thorn. Sadly, it was sitting out in the open earlier. He is calling and moving at the same time. I didn't get a good look. Hello, Elise. I thought I saw some tracks. What you doing, boys and girls? Always nice to find some Elise. Hello, children. Can we come and say hello? Stop with this bull first. Then we'll see if we can find the. This is the mother of these calves. Now they're no doubt going to be heading up towards the dam. We're not too far from the top end of Gowrie Dam. We're just opposite some of the top rooms for Vuyatela Lodge. Oh, we can't find a leopard, we found some elephant. There we go. Nice way to end our sunrise drive this morning. spending time with them. Seen quite a few adults up ahead under that big jackalberry. Perhaps in a short while we'll go a little bit further around in front of the camp and see if we can find anything. The cows and calves. We were heading up Mvubu Road, and I just had a hunch and turned down the little track from Mvubu Road that goes to the top of Gowrie Dam. And this is the little track that then bends around past a little water hole in front of Gallagher Camp. And I'm guessing that maybe these ellies have come from there and they've been drinking at that little water hole already, perhaps. And now they're feeding around Gowrie Dam. If it gets hot, they're probably going to go down to the dam, maybe have a mud bath a little bit later. I can hear Koki francolins chirping and crested francolins. So while he's moving off, I'm going to see if we can head around to see some of those calves and cows that are underneath the very big jackalberry for the time being. And I've noticed there's a lot of feeding on buffalo thorn at the moment. A lot of the elephants are utilizing the buffalo thorn, probably because the leaves are at their fullest, the tree's at its best at the moment, before it starts losing its leaves. He's got his head stuck right into that buffalo thorn. Let's go around a bit, Brian. Let's see if we can catch up with some cows and calves. You're joining them now. And the cows are starting to move, but we can't get there because it's just way too thick. I might get around the termite mound of the big jackalberry, but it might be best if we just go back to the road. The problem is that if we do get to see them from here, we're just going to be seeing the back of them because they are slowly moving. Hello, Drongo. Hello, Mr. Daly. And one of the calves here too. Really pretty girl. Look at those tusks. Some really lovely tusks. Bit of a chip out of her right tusk. she's eating a lot of the grasses that are growing protected underneath that fallen buffalo thorn. It looks like she might even try and lift a lot of that buffalo thorn to try and get to the grasses. We'll see what she does. At the moment it's picking up the branches of buffalo thorn more than anything else. And despite all the thorns which pierce our skin at the slightest provocation, she just puts them in her mouth and munches away, thorns and all. Some of you might not have caught Fireside Chat last night and might not be on social media. I just thought I'd let you know that this is my last morning drive for some time. I am moving on from Wild Earth for the time being. I have resigned, and so I'm going to be going home to the Timbavati for now. And leaving everything in the capable hands of the crew that we have at the moment. James doing pretty well. I think he's going to be joining the crew. I'm not sure. Oh, look at that little thing. And, well, the elephants, the ellies moving away into the thicker bush. I'm going to be moving away back for breakfast. I'll be on drive this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central African time with, I think James might be joining me this afternoon on the other vehicle. And we'll see what we can find then. I'm hoping that these ellies are going to head over to the dam. Keep an eye on Gary and Juma waterhole camera if you're not going to bed, if it's not too late for you, because they will be there in the next maybe half an hour or so, or maybe hour. It might take them a while to get there. My name is Mark. I've had Brian on camera with me this morning, and thank you, Brian, for putting up with all the camera angles with the terrain today. Great leopard. Great to have ellies. I'll see you this afternoon. Love you lots. Bye, ellies. Love you lots also.